Hello, welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor, CropLife and CropLife Iron, here again with Laura Sowinski, one more time in our offices before we head out on the road again. Laura, how you doing?
Really well. Thank you. How are you?
Well, good, but I'm actually in the office to record this video, but the previous days of this week, I've been on the road quite a bit. One
Okay.
of the trips I took, which I'm going to highlight in today's video for our viewers, was I visited with my friends up in Winfield United. Uh, they have a innovation center in River Falls, Wisconsin, which is just a little bit east of Minneapolis. So I spent the day, July 24th, the day up there on a tour of that facility and also some of their answer plots, which were not too far away as well. Had some good speakers talking about all the company plans moving forward, Laura. They've got a very aggressive plan in the marketplace. Winfield United hopes to introduce 80 new products over the next 3 years. So that, as companies go, that's pretty aggressive, but and they had several of their people talking at this event, but they also invited an ag retailer. I was happy to see Greg Culp, who's with Mercer Landmark, which is one of the CropLife 100 companies on our listing that's based in our home state, my home state of Ohio. And Greg had a couple of video clips that I would like to share with our viewers. In the first one, he's talking about a topic near and dear to your hearts. The question came up regarding biologicals and the views of retailers regarding biologicals. So here is what Greg Culp had to say regarding the biologicals marketplace.
Yes, biologicals are what comes to mind. I mean, there are other things that I think are important, but the biological space, we talked about it a little bit this morning, that it is a bit of the wild, wild west, and we joke that, you could make something in your bathtub and call it go-go juice, and it'll get 4 bushels or 10 bushels or whatever, and go on a promise. And as an ag retailer, we don't want to sell that. We want to sell on data, and that's why I think from an innovation standpoint and a research standpoint, what Winfield United has done with the bio-verified approach gives us confidence as retailers, and it gives our growers confidence that when we apply a product, we can at least count on a consistent result, and that's what growers want.
So that's what Greg Culp had to say about biologicals. And again, he emphasized, Laura, something we've heard from several folks over the years, that without data to back up the claims, that you can claim the moon, but if you don't have the data to go with it, ag retailers in general don't really want to have to deal with that. They want some hard data before they're willing to give stuff a try.
For sure.
Yep. So, and in his second clip, kind of following up on that, he was also emphasizing the question came up regarding, how the grower community in particular, they're a little slow to adopt new practices, new technologies.
Mhm.
And he said a lot of that ties back to the data question as well. So here is what Greg had to say regarding that topic.
Well, the ag retail sellers are not a lot different than farmers many times, and that's that they're maybe resistant to change at times because we like what's always worked, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But that's really not true. I mean, we need to be looking for the next best thing, and so in order to get through some of those challenges, that's where data helps, and whether that be local data, but really specifically the answer plot data helps us, because we know that it's not just a field trial where we got some anecdotal response. It's data with a low LSD. It's data we can trust. And if we have that, that begins the conversation to go, oh, maybe I need to be recommending this particular product in this specific situation to growers in my area because we've had trouble with XYZ, or we've talked about how agronomy is local. I mean, that every product isn't for every grower, but having the education and the data behind it gives our sellers the confidence to know which tool from the toolbox to pick for the specific problems. And we appreciate the data that comes from the answer plot and from the technical team.
So that is what Greg Culp had to say from Mercer Landmark regarding ag retailer views regarding biologicals and data. and how important data is to ag retailers. And I tend to agree. I mean, I've heard that several retailers that, if you don't have the data to back up your claims, then basically, these guys are too busy to try to vet stuff themselves. So.
Agree.
Yeah. So, hey, like I said, this was a Winfield United event,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to be neglectful of the Winfield United representation. So, Dennis Christie, who was a Winfield United rep when we were out at the answer plot, a question came up regarding ag technology.
Uh-huh.
And here is what he had to say regarding ag technology and how it's progressed over the last 5 years. I think our viewers will find this very interesting. So take a listen to this as well.
Today with drones, autonomous, see and spray or optical sensing. There's been more change in the last 5 years than there probably has been in the previous 50. That change, that innovation drives both opportunity, risk, and cost, right? Costs a lot to get involved with some of these technologies. At the same point, we have struggles at retail and on the farm, right, with personnel. Just finding enough bodies. Fair enough. So these things are giving us some new opportunities, and we try to learn about it.
So again, Laura said, as he pointed out, the technology advances we've seen in the last 5 years probably surpass easily what we've seen in the prior 50 in the marketplace.
Yes.
And, given that old adage about how technology advances so quickly and moves ahead rapidly at a very, very quick pace from 1 year to the next, 1 month to the next, 1 week to the next, I imagine over the next couple of years, we're going to be seeing a lot of on this front. So,
Yep.
yep. So, hey, I've already set the table for technology, and I know that ourselves, you and me, along with a bunch of other people, are going to be in Des Moines, Iowa next week for our Tech Hub Live 2024 event. So if you could give our viewers an update on that to see what the latest is.
Will do. And this weekend, a lot of our team obviously is heading to Des Moines for setup and prepping for Tech Hub Live, which kicks off on Monday, the 29th. I am so thankful that the CrowdStrike, Microsoft security update glitch happened last week and not this weekend, when everyone's trying to get where they need to be for Tech Hub Live. So I'm going to use the security glitch update, security update glitch as a reminder about supply chain resiliency and risk mitigation. And I remember what has now kind of become a case study in the supply chain management and risk management realm. If you recall, spring 2011, the Fukushima earthquake and tsunami in Japan, and a lot of the auto manufacturers, not just the Japanese auto manufacturers, but Ford and Chrysler, for instance, were affected. German company Merck makes or was making at that time in Fukushima a pigment for auto paint, and the pigment paint pigment is called Cerolic, and it kind of gives that shimmery feature to the paint. So that plant went down, and consequently auto production came to a screeching halt, in large part because this one pigment for paint, it was not available. So it's kind of like, all your eggs in one basket kind of thing. And again, just this past week, and even some folks that we were prepping panels for Tech Hub Live, they were saying, yeah, gosh, we were down for a couple days here at the office and et cetera. And, kind of the question that many executives were asking and posing was, how in the world can a security update glitch bring everything down from transportation to custom clearances to commerce and so on and so forth. And, just a reminder, and one thing that really stands out for me is particularly when I was, years ago, entirely immersed in supply chain, and somebody that was doing a webinar on risk for us was talking about people do a great job, when we go in and we work with them and analyze the supply chain and ask the questions, okay, who's your supplier, and so on and so forth. And what would you do that, playing the what if game to really try and stress test, what you have. And, everything's fine. They put it in a 3-ring binder and they put it on the shelf, and it doesn't get looked at until something happens, like dust off the binder, pull it out. It's like, yeah, what do we do again? What's our contingency plan? And it's like, no, it's a living, breathing thing. I mean, that notebook and that planning and that asking what if about every scenario you can imagine is what's called for. And it always has been. And while some things, the downing of the Key Bridge and port strikes and earthquakes and tsunamis and geopolitical things, those are, a lot of things happen out of our control. However, just close to home and just thinking about the business for ag retailers and their farmer folks, and what happens if your trucker is not able to deliver? What happens if the forklift driver doesn't show up? Small things, even small things can be so just a gentle reminder to, when it comes to risk, particularly in today's world. And we ask the question, well, how could one thing bring down? Well, look, this is exactly how it can happen. And while there may not be a lot that folks could have done to respond to that, given the nature of it, the question at least is, if this happens, how much downtime will that impact, and what will the cost be? Do I have a backup plan? What do I do if I go back to, the manual and the paper? So anyway, just a reminder, always be asking when you can't sleep at night and you're laying in bed and it's like, like what I do, I get like stuck on, well, what if this? Well, what if that? So
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
good use of those sleepless nights. So anyway,
Always good for one's blood pressure to be
yeah,
considering those world views in the middle of the evening. Yes.
exactly. So again, I come through as being the Debbie Downer, but hopefully
Well,
we're
bottom line,
very
I'm sure, things like this are all going to get discussed next week when we're in Iowa in Des Moines. So hopefully, based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like the attendance is going to be fairly strong. So we're going to see a lot of our industry friends there. There'll be a lot of great speakers, obviously. You and I'll be interviewing folks on the out in the foyer before you get to the show floor, talking with our fireside chats. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about topics like security and obviously technology and AI and drones and soil analysis. So, oh, I know it's going to be exciting. So hopefully you guys can join us. If not, next week's video, Miss Laura and I will be recording it just post Ag or Tech Hub Live. So we'll be able to share what went on at the event, and hopefully we'll have a couple of those and maybe a video or two. We can maybe see, but yeah, stay tuned in the coming weeks. Obviously, we'll be talking about this for a little while, I'm sure.
Yeah, so just I know we're doing some final days outreach and getting the numbers up. And honestly, the numbers for Tech Hub Live and Women in Ag Tech both have really, really popped in the last week or so. It's still cheaper to register today than it is on the spot there. So do check out techhublive.com, and we would love to see you. Love to have you join the show.
Very good. All right. Well, within that in mind, then, since we're trying to get a lot of stuff done before we leave, of course, and we're It's only, as we're recording this, we're only a few days away from having to have all our laundry clean and all of our
Our
electronic
insurance friends.
equipment fully charged, so we're ready to go. But we will end the video as we always do in your favorite segment. Time
Yay.
for fun with numbers.
Wow, I love it.
All right.
What do
So,
you
Miss
got?
Laura, I got a huge number for you this week. I mean, we're talking big, okay?
Big.
1400%. 1400%.
Wow.
1400%.
Okay.
I know you don't run into these numbers like that. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's a number. I'm gonna have some fun with it. So
Of course.
Miss Laura, is 1400%. Is that the increase in crop insurance claims in 2024 versus 2023?
Ooh.
Is it B, the increase in sustainable aviation fuel production in 2024 versus 2023? Is it C, the proposed increase in tariffs on Chinese goods for 2025? Or is it D, the increase in blood pressure dealing with Delta Airlines travel disruptions this past week? I'm sure I was not alone, and that's probably not too far from the actual number.
So C, the increase in proposed Chinese tariffs, proposed by who? By what? Give me a little more.
If the administration changes.
Okay, okay, okay. A, crop insurance claims.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the answer this week is B.
Sustainable aviation fuel. Wow.
Yeah, this comes from
Yeah.
our friends at the U.S. Energy Information Administration. They said that there has been such a demand for sustainable aviation fuel in 2024 that they're
Wow.
estimating that the production will increase from 2023's 2,000 barrels per day to
Mhm.
30,000 barrels per day for this year. So again, a 1,400%
Wow.
increase year over year. So.
Wow. Well, that's yeah, that's crazy. And that's
It,
also good fodder for a future CropLife story. So thank you for that, even though I missed.
I imagine so, because as we said on several videos we've done this year, I mean, the soybean acreage was going up, and folks were anticipating that soybean crush for a sustainable aviation fuel would be a big market driver moving forward, and it sounds like it's already beginning. So.
Wow. Well, so I'm curious, what is the answer for crop insurance claims?
I didn't look at that. I threw that in there because I was trying to
Like
come up with something
13.99%?
that might, well, no, actually from what folks have told me out in the field, that the prevent plant this year was very low, so that there
Oh,
probably weren't that many crop insurance claims. So I imagine that if I had to guess, percentage probably went down
really?
24
Okay.
versus
Wow.
20. Um, I'm talking increase. I just threw that in there to fool you, and apparently I
Yeah.
did. I'm sorry. Oh
Yeah.
well. We'll have to see how after Tech Hub Live next week, and when I probably will come up with a number that comes up during the meeting, and hopefully you'll remember it and you'll get
Okay.
that one correct. But sorry, a buzzer
Right.
this week for you. Sorry, Laura.
No problem.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. For those going to Tech Hub Live next week in Des Moines, we'll look forward to seeing you in person. And for everyone else, stay tuned for future, developments in the marketplace and from the event.
Yep.
I'm Eric Sfiligoj on behalf of myself and everyone here at CropLife. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.